Yes, I'm actually a psychologist. I'm a fully qualified psychologist who specialises in dreams and dreaming.
Okay, very good. You've recently brought out a new book. It's called The Top 100 Dreams, the dreams that we all have and what they really mean.
Yeah, that's right, Alan. And I wrote this book, and it's based on a really simple fact that everyone thinks that dreams happen to them, but the reverse is true. We actually happen to dreams. So we create absolutely everything in the dream, all the people, all the places, all the events. And that's what this book is about, all these patterns that we create in our dreams.
Does everybody dream?
Everyone dreams. A lot of people say they don't dream, but what they actually mean is they don't remember their dreams.
All right. So everybody has a dream every night, but you just don't remember.
Yeah, so we have about 5 sleep cycles per night, and in those sleep cycles we have a dream episode. So we have 5 dreams per night usually, and the dream episodes last for between 10 and 40 minutes.
Really?
Uh-huh. So we dream for between maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours per night.
Wow, and sometimes we wake up and we don't even think about it.
That's right, and the thing is when we wake up and we've got stuff to do, the alarm clock's going off or we have to be someplace, then as soon as we start to move our bodies, then the dream will fade. So a tip for remembering your dreams, if you want to try and remember your dreams in the morning, is to just stay absolutely still for about a minute. So don't even wiggle your toes or move at all. Just try and lay very, very still, and you should get some dream imagery coming back to you.
Will that always work?
Yes, it does. It's quite amazing that a lot of people have all these really, really complicated theories about dreams, but most of the best ways of working with dreams are really simple and powerful like that.
So I stay still for 1 minute, I just completely empty my mind, I don't think about anything.
Yeah, and you'll find that you'll start to get some feelings coming back, thinking, I was quite anxious in that dream, or I was quite exhilarated, and you should get some images coming back in, and then you can start to connect up the images and get a wee bit of a story going there.
Great, it's very interesting. Look, we started talking about it on the show yesterday, and we read down through 1 or 2 of the dreams. We've got loads of texts, loads of people got in touch online as well, and the most common question we were asked to ask you was about teeth. Everybody seems to have had this dream at one stage or another. Can you please ask him why my teeth keep falling out in my dreams?
Yeah, this is the second most common dream that people have, is teeth falling out. And it's quite amusing because very often people come up to me and say, I've had this weird dream, I'm sure no one else has ever had it, it's just so unusual, I can't believe anyone else would have this dream, and it's teeth falling out. It's the second most common dream that people have. So what our teeth symbolise to us when we dream are our feelings of power and confidence. We tend to show our teeth in public, either when we're smiling, when we're happy and confident, or maybe when we're snarling a bit, when we're asserting ourselves. So if we dream that our teeth are falling, it's making our confidence crumble a wee bit in waking life. So the message from the dream is just to appear more confident in waking life, even though we feel a wee bit wobbly inside.
And what's the most common dream?
The most common dream is being chased. And when we dream that we're being chased, then there's some sort of issue in our waking life that we want to confront, but we're not quite sure how to do so. And people often ask me, Alan, how do you know this stuff? Have you just made up all this stuff about symbols? Where does it all come from? And all this symbolism and imagery has emerged over thousands and thousands of years of dreaming. So one of the ways to really spot it is just to listen to the phrases and words that we use. So we have this word in our language, pursuit. And a pursuit can be being chased, but it's also something that we're really fascinated by, or maybe even obsessed by. We're drawn towards this particular pursuit. So if we dream of being chased, then there's some sort of pursuit that we have in waking life, something that we're really drawn to, and something we really want to do that we're trying to pursue, but we're being frustrated from actually pursuing it. So the message from the dream is to find out what this frustration is and find a way around it so we can actually pursue our ambitions and fulfill them.
You know that sensation, you're really tired, you just get into bed, you're just nodding off, and then you feel like you're falling out of the bed or you're falling off a step. What's that about?
So when we go to sleep, then what our body actually does, it starts to relax us just to enter sleep. And part of the way it does that is our brainstem secretes a chemical into our spinal cord, and it starts to effectively paralyze our large muscles like our arms and our legs and our backs. So as we're doing that, we're actually physically sinking down into the bed a little bit, and that feeling feels like falling, and that's why we have that phrase, falling asleep, because we're actually sinking down to sleep there. And sometimes it feels like we're just falling off a curb or maybe something a bit higher up. And the reason for that is because we have residual tension in our muscles during the day, then there's often a little twitch as that tension is released. And the physiological term for it is a myoclonic jerk. We just have that little jerk as the tension goes and we actually relax and fall asleep.
Brilliant. All right. Yesterday, Paul got in touch. Paul has a weird dream that he's had about 20 times, he says, and it's all about, it starts off where he cycles down to an old house down the road, but the old house isn't an old house in his dream, and here was his question.
Well, it started off when I was about 13 now. I'm 23 now or whatever. So from the age of about 13, 17, I had the same repetitive dream, obviously not for about 4 years. But myself and my two older sisters, we'd cycle down to an old house that was down past our house, like. And this house is dilapidated, like, at the time that I was having the dreams. When we used to go down then, like, the house used to be perfect in the dream, but, like, we were about 3 years younger, so I'd have been about 10 at the time, say, cycling, but I was about 13 or 14 when I was having the dreams. But that was grand anyway. We used to cycle down past this old house anyway. But on the way home, we'd be cycling past and there'd be two fellas sitting outside and a woman standing inside looking out. But that was grand. But one day we were cycling down past it anyway, and the two fellas come over and they sort of kidnapped my two older sisters off their bikes and brought them into the house. Now I remember that when I like in my dream, I used to go back to the house and see what was going on, like, but the woman had sort of turned into a witch, and she turned me two sisters into two birds. I think I'm nearly 100% certain now that they were doves, but she used to turn them into these two birds anyway, and then the two trolls used to take them to a bath. I know this sounds strange, but I used to take them to a bath that was full of chocolate and dip them into the chocolate and start licking the chocolate off them. Now, there was always, like in the dream then, I'd always be thinking, right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to sort of save me two sisters or whatever. But just as I was reaching the house to try and do something, I'd always wake up at the same moment in the dream every time. Like, it was like, I don't know what it was, but it was petrifying at the time.
You've had this dream a good few times, have you?
I'd say within the 3 or 4 years, I'd say about 20 times.
Are you serious?
And I'd always wake up at the same time in the dream, just as I was going to go back to the house.
There you go, Ian. He assures me that it's a genuine dream. Can you make head nor tail of that?
Yeah, that's an absolutely fantastic dream that Paul's having there. So, although it seems like a really weird dream, then in this book, The Top 100 Dreams, I described the 100 most common dream patterns. And the basis of Paul's dream there mentions two of them. So, the old derelict, 84th most common dream that people have, and being kidnapped is the 80th most common dream that people have. So when Paul's cycling down past this old derelict house, then there's something in his waking life where he's exploring some sort of path or progression that he can make, and it's probably to do with his career. And because he's on his bike, then he's got to do it from his own energy. He's got to self-start it. He can't get anyone else to help him. And we dream about a derelict house. The house is the absolutely classic symbol for a person in a dream, because houses have got insides and outsides, and so do we. So if he's cycling down to a derelict house, particularly from his childhood, then there's some aspect of his own identity or his own character he's neglecting. He's letting fall derelict in waking life. So he's got some sort of talent that he's not attending to. And when we dream of people in a dream, we're always dreaming about aspects of our own character. So the people in the dream are aspects of Paul's own character. And the kidnap shows that he's in some sort of situation, and again, it's probably a professional situation, where he feels powerless to do something. So he's neglecting a talent, but he feels powerless to do anything about it. And the bath full of chocolate, anytime we dream about food, we're looking about how we get fulfilled. So he's got the potential to become really fulfilled, but he's probably in a job where he's not particularly happy, and that's why he's feeling kidnapped. He's actually feeling like he's being held hostage. And what the dream's saying to him is that he's got some unique talent that he should actually start attending to and start cleaning up and finding ways of presenting it to the world. So this dream is all about him being able to express some unique ability that he has, but he's just letting lie derelict at the moment.
The only thing is, Ian, he was 13 at the time when he started having them, so he would have been in school. Would that mean that he wasn't happy in school?
Yeah, so that's probably what he feels, that he was probably doing perhaps the wrong studies at school. You know, he was maybe wanting to do art, and his parents and the teacher were saying that he has to do science and maths and stuff like that. So when he started having that dream, then that's a really classic time to feel held hostage when you're actually in school like that. So what the dream was telling him at the time is that he should just really look to his unique ability rather than being told what to do by other people.
All right, thanks very much. We'll go down through some of the questions that have been coming into us very quickly. I dream that my best friend dies in a tragic accident and I need a shoulder to cry on, but that person I need is gone and I'm all alone. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so when we dream about anyone else, we're dreaming about some aspect of our own self. And when we dream about a friend, we're dreaming about some part of ourselves that we need to become more acquainted with, like an acquaintance. So again, it's probably some ability or skill that this dreamer has. And anytime we dream about death, then we're not dreaming about an actual death. We're dreaming about a transformation in our waking life. So the dreamer has the potential to transform how this ability is seen by other people, but because there's no shoulder to cry on, then the dreamer's feeling a bit unsupported. So the dreamer should look for some support in waking life to actually help fulfill this particular ambition.
Another popular one that has been coming into us is I keep dreaming that my hair is going to fall out. It's freaking me out a little bit.
Yeah, so this is a very common dream and it's had by both men and women. So if we look at what hair means symbolically, it grows out of our head. And so it's like where are all our thoughts and ideas come from? And the more luxuriant hair is in a dream, then the more luxuriant your ideas and thoughts. So if you dream that your hair is going to fall out, and the dreamer is worried that they have to come up with some sort of idea or solution to something, but they're not quite sure how that's going to happen. And again, looking at the language, they may have some idea that they want to pursue, but if they do, they might end up falling out with someone. So the message from the dream is whatever idea they're having, then they need to express that openly and clearly to other people.
Great. We just have one or two more. Dreaming of holding babies. Can you explain anything around that? That's all it says, dreaming of holding babies.
Yeah, this is a really common dream. It's usually dreaming that a baby's been lost. It's the 46th most common dream that people have. But again, when we just look at the images and the language around baby, when we have a project or a plan in waking life that's really close to us, then we call it our baby, and we say it's a labour of love or something that's very, very precious. So if someone's holding a baby, then they're holding a plan or an idea that's really precious to them in waking life, and they're just thinking of ways of nurturing and developing that idea. So the message from the dream is to look after this is created.
Sorry, I just lost you there. Look after what is created?
Look after this labour of love that was created. Yes.
Dreaming things and then they actually happen in real life. I think that could be a psychic, is it? Or what's that person?
Well, people could think it's a psychic, Alan, but when we look at the way that a dream actually works and how we create the dreams, the dream's the language of the unconscious awareness. So even as you and I are chatting just now, and then we're absorbing huge amounts of information unconsciously and not rationally processing it. So because we do all that all the time, then we tend to pick up on cues and clues of things that are happening around us that we're unaware of consciously, but we are aware of them unconsciously. So then we tend to project those into the future, and it's just like watching a football coming towards you. You can work out the trajectory and you know where it's going to land. So we do the same with our dreams, that because we've got this information that we're absorbing unconsciously, then we can project that trajectory a bit into the future and see what might happen. And that's one of the functions of dreams, is just to explore possibilities and potentials and see how those might work out in the future. So that's all a precognitive dream is to see what might happen, and quite often it does actually happen in the future. All
right, well, I'm very conscious of the time and I don't want to hold you too long, but I do want to get to just one or two more of the most common ones coming into us on the text. I regularly dream that I go back on the cigarettes, even though I'm a non-smoker now for over 5.5 years, and I don't think I'll ever go back on them. Why is this?
Yeah, this is a common one as well. It's the 91st most common dream, having some sort of addiction. And usually it's got nothing to do with cigarettes or alcohol or any non-prescription drugs. It's usually because the dreamer has some sort of fascination or addiction to something or someone in waking life. And it's very often in a relationship where the dreamer's in a relationship that gives them quite a buzz, they get quite excited by, but they know at the end of the day it's quite unhealthy for them. So the message from the dream is just to review where that relationship might be going and what they're actually getting out of it.
I regularly dream about working in my last job, which I left over 4 years ago. What does that mean?
Yeah, so and this one is, again, it's a very common dream. It's the 95th most common dream, being in an old job or going to your job and finding the workplace completely empty. So when we dream about having a job, we're thinking about the value of what we do in waking life. And this dream is very often had by people who have just retired or stepped into a different role or are thinking about a different career. And they're just trying to work out the value of what they practically do. And the message from the dream is that they feel that no one seems to pay attention to the value of their skills. So what they actually have to do, the action they have to take, is actually show those skills off a bit more and be a bit more confident in showing what they can really do.
And I'm sure it's another popular one. I dream I can fly. What does that mean?
Yeah, this is a really popular one, Alan. So it's the 6th most common dream that people have. And again, when we just go back to language, we've got phrases like being the gravity of the situation or weighed down by responsibility or a heavy decision. So what this dream's saying is that the dreamer has been in some sort of circumstances that have been weighing them down in waking life, and they've managed to release themselves from that heavy obligation they've had, and that's making them feel really free and like they can fly.
What's the strangest dream you've ever heard, Ian?
Well, they're all strange, Alan.
Yeah.
The fact that everyone on this planet, all 6 billion of us, we create these stories every night. So even as you and I are talking, then a third of the world's population, 5 dreams a night. So by the end of that 8-hour period, then we'll have dreamed 10 billion of these crazy stories. And I guess the craziest thing about them is most of the underlying stories are the same, that they tend to follow the same patterns.
Have you ever heard a dream that you can't explain, or is there an explanation to every dream?
There's an explanation to every dream because it's just, as humans, we make these dreams and they just reflect our fundamental human behaviour. So they're not just dreams, they're stories of humans and all the things they do to find out who they are, what they need and how they can get it.
You must love hearing people's dreams, do you?
I just absolutely love it, Alan. And I've been doing this for over 30 years now. And in that 30 years, I've analysed over 140,000 dreams for my clients.
Wow. All right. Listen, talk to us about the book, The Top 100 Dreams. And it's called The Dreams That We All Have and What They Really Mean. Yeah, so I was saying at the start of our chat, Alan, that the reason I wrote the book is that everyone thinks that dreams happen to them, but the reverse is true. We happen to dreams. We create everything in the dream. So what the book does is to take the 100 most common patterns that we create when we dream, and it just describes what the dreams are, what they mean, and most importantly, the action you can take to use that dream, because a dream is just a dream until you actually put it into action. And it gives a bit of the cultural and psychological background around why people create that dream and what we can actually do with them. It sounds like an absolutely fascinating read. Where can we buy it, Ian?
It's published by Hay House, and you can buy it online, and I guess it will be in most bookshops as well.
Great. Listen, Ian, thanks a million. You're a very fascinating, interesting and a lovely man, and I could spend more time talking to you, but unfortunately we can't. We're completely out of time.
It's been absolutely delightful, Alan. Thanks so much.